My name is Yolanda Mulwa, radio presenter, and now, most recently, content creator, Standard Digital. And I'm going to, I think I should kind of give you a backstory. Happy International Men's Day, Daniel.
Thank you.
So, before he tells you his official names, government names, and whatnot, this was the person behind the show that you saw when I was hosting mid-morning. I think he produced the most of this year.
Yeah. It was pretty much.
Yeah, so the first guy producer, the ones before were all female, and then Daniel comes in, and then you're not just a producer, a radio producer, you're also the voice of KTN.
Yes.
And many other brands in our country have borrowed that baritone.
Yes.
You're going to do Optimus Prime before we finish?
I hope I can nail it. I hope I can.
So your names, your name. I hate names. Your name.
My name is Daniel Othieno, a voiceover artist. Most recently, radio producer. I've done a lot. I do quite a bit. I've hosted on TV. I've hosted on radio. The production end, however, I think was very, very fulfilling. And I think maybe that's where we understood each other, because now I got to learn a lot more. Because you've been presenting way longer than I have. You know it. I was in it for a while, took a break, came back. And yeah, I'm also going into content creation and podcasting.
We're not even going to talk about your TikTok videos and the comments underneath them because but the month of, I'll just jump straight into it. The month of November is Movember, casually Men's Health Month.
Yes.
A lot of conversations about the medical, the physical part of health in a man's body. So the testicular cancer and prostate cancer.
Yeah.
But then there's mental health, which I feel like is a global disaster currently. We're living in very strange times. Everyone is just in their head all over the place and everything in between and around it. I want to give you some facts. 720,000 people die yearly from suicide, Dan. Mm-hmm. Men are 3 times more likely to die by suicide than women. Do you think we downplay mental health when it comes to men?
To an extent, society has made it a taboo for men to speak about their emotions. It's because men are perceived to be something a certain way. Men are supposed to be strong, we're supposed to be the leaders, we're supposed to be the providers, protectors. Society has put us in a position where we're not allowed to be vulnerable. And every time, and there's a lot of situations that men become vulnerable and it's weaponized against them. You show emotion.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, weaponized in what way?
You show, let's just bring it home. I'm a crier. You know this.
I wanted him to say it, so it didn't come from me. I didn't pick you to be here because you're a crier. But I love how in touch you are with your feelings, with your emotions, and you're not unapologetically so, right?
Yes.
Has that side of you, that being in touch and in tune with your emotions, has it been used against you previously?
Yes.
And how?
Yes,
if you
multiple
don't mind
times.
us
So
diving in there.
There's times when you're told,
Man up.
Man up.
You're a wuss.
Yes, the stereotypical things. Man up, you're a wuss.
At 6 foot tall and Sparta, but you're still a wuss.
There's someone who, yesterday, as recently as yesterday, I was having a conversation with a friend and they said, Dan, you're hypersensitive. And I said, it's because I also have told you that. I know, I am aware and I'm trying to work on it.
But what is that a bad, because maybe they were saying that as if it was a bad thing. Being a man who is, I'm like, by a show of hands, all the women, who has a problem with a man who's in tune and in touch with his emotions and his feelings? I'm almost certain no one will put their hand up. Many times we can't hit that barrier as women. We feel we penetrate with our love, with our affection, but then most men don't know how to show their emotions. Maybe you don't feel like it's a safe space. I don't know.
Yes,
Perhaps.
and so there's a very good friend. He's I call him my brother now. We only met a few weeks ago. We've never met in person, but we speak on phone
But
every.
you're king of bromancing, you know that.
I can't help it. So this guy is like an older version of me. And we spoke about this, and he said, have you ever really focused on how men cry differently?
Ooh, I like that.
When men cry, when we cry,
Do tell.
if it's not just very obvious tears, we will cry through our music, what we're listening to, how we drive. I bet you've seen it in the gym. You know, when a guy's in a good mood, he'll lift easy. When he's in a bad mood, he'll go nuts.
Yeah.
You wonder, okay, this guy's trying to kill himself with the weights. There's so many different ways. There's guys and then there's the negative side of it.
So it's not the physical tears per se.
No.
If you look at a man, all men cry, but in
Yes,
different...
in different ways. And it's because
You're onto something, Daniel.
I guess I am.
Go on, I'm loving this conversation.
It's because it's weaponized against us, and that becomes a traumatic experience. And it starts from childhood, when men are told, don't cry, you're a man.
You're a big boy.
You're a big boy, don't cry. And I think all men have gone through that. However, the space that, after realizing that, how dangerous that is, how toxic it is, because fine, you're told not to cry physically, so you're told to suppress your emotions. And what happens when they come out negatively? There's guys who drink. That's how alcoholism begins. Violence, drugs. We abuse drugs. And in this generation, I think...
And you've seen guys who are also jacks. The other day I saw, we only talk about addictions when it comes to maybe the smoking, the alcohol, the drugs. But there's also physical addictions.
Yes.
I didn't until I was doing research on mental health and men's mental health. There's guys who are sex addicts.
Yes.
And it's also a trauma response. I had no clue.
Yes. So I think I'm perceived as the stereotypical, because I played rugby, I'm a lot of the time perceived as a stereotypical rugby player. When I stopped playing rugby and I got out of the space, I started to see things differently. And I saw it from the outside looking in. And these are just good men who have been put in a spot where being vulnerable is completely out of the question a lot of the time, either at home, so they go to the pitch and they try to be macho. And I'm not saying all of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of healthy guys there. There's a lot of guys who have the right mentality. But there's guys also who, and not just in the sporting world, all over, there's guys who will automatically revert to a toxic trait, to an addiction, to a
Sometimes
habit.
maybe I'm asking because that's all you know. Maybe you don't know how to channel your frustration in a healthy, positive manner. Maybe
Because we were never given the opportunity or taught how to.
I love that last bit. You were never taught how to.
Yes. And this is also the same. And I'm not just saying that for men, yes, it is very serious. However, I've also seen it in women. So even in raising my daughter, if she needs to cry, my first response is, okay, come. You need to cry. Cry. When you finish, when you calm down, let's talk. And
You don't have a son yet. Sorry to cut you short. Would you, because you're raising a daughter, it's okay to raise I'm saying okay in societal and especially one that's very entrenched in our cultures, you understand? As Africans, men are supposed to be a certain way, and then you've said the P's, protect, provide, that's how we are supposed to view you, as this mammoth, godlike beings who nothing can penetrate, but it's okay to show a girl to be in touch with her softer side. But how do you show her that it's okay for a man to, I don't know if you're understanding my question.
So
Because nurturing her softer side is almost normal and natural. But do you show your child that you're not this impenetrable? You know, remember the way us guys, your dad, okay, maybe you'd never had the opportunity, I don't know about your upbringing, but your dad would come home, and the minute you would hear him, you guys would scatter from the place. Scatter from the place.
Yeah, you clear the living room. And
but are you trying to raise her different is what I'm trying to ask. And how different? Are you crying in front of, are you bawling out in front of Naya? Are you, Mama, come, let's cry it out.
So what I try to do is I try to give her the opportunity to process and experience all her emotions as she should, and teaching her that as her father, because I'm the first blueprint she has of a man.
Word.
Who she chooses going on in the future is partially influenced by how I have treated her growing up, by how I have raised her. How it was the same thing with my mom raising me. My mom would, yes, there's times when, you know, crying is like, no, there's things you don't cry about. But she also was very incredibly, my mom is loving. My mom is just hugs, kisses, cuddles, giggles, tickling all the time, you know. And when you see how people relate differently, there's people who you begin to see patterns, and you can see this one is trying to fix the trauma, this one is running away from it, this one is trying to figure it out because they have no clue,
this one is in denial,
this one is in denial. And it all stems from a point of awareness and being self-aware, understanding that there's this that I do and it's not right, and I need to start trying to fix it. Or just accepting when someone tells you like, yo, this thing that you do is not good, and you have to be able to accept it. But that comes from you accepting your own self first. And that's that's one of the things that a lot of
I love that. I wish we could unpack that for a moment. Just say it again.
So a lot of it's
comes from you
accepting who you are.
Yes.
However imperfect, because even in your imperfection, there is still beauty. And that's the thing that guys don't get. I don't think men are given that opportunity to understand that, look, you're not perfect, but you're still good. And just being authentic is being authentic with yourself and your conversations and your interactions with people creates that acceptance. Because in authenticity, there is everything. There is everything. You're not pretending. Remember, perfection is finite. It stops at some point. However, that's why
and then it's also like in the eye of the beholder, because I'm like, you're perfect. It's probably not my perfect.
Yes, and we just have to accept that. Let's be aware of the fact that not everything will be completely perfect.
I asked my previous guest this question, and I said I'm going to carry on the trend throughout the celebration of men, because this month is when we celebrate you. It's, by the way, tough luck that we celebrate you for, I feel like, for a month only. And then you all share International Men's Day with World Toilet Day.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, but we're here now. What to do? What do you live for, Daniel?
Wow.
I know.
What do I live for? I live... Let me break this down so that you can see where I'm coming from with it. So, what do you live for sounds a lot like the question of who are you?
Yes.
And I believe, in a nutshell. And I used to get this question wrong every single time because I tried explaining it to people.
And there's no wrong answer, by the way. I always tell people there's no wrong answer to that, because only you know your truth.
True. But there's one that hit me. And it hit me on my own. I was up late. I was watching, what was I watching? I was watching a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And for some reason, my mind drifted back to that thought, and it hit me, and I realized you are the culmination of all the experiences you've been through.
Good and bad.
Good and bad. Those are what make you who you are in life. And what I live for is every experience that comes my way, because that is now what changes me every day. We're consistently changing. We're continually improving. It's the Japanese thing, Kaizen, continuous improvement, 1% every day. Every day, just a little bit. And that's what I live for. Because if you look too far ahead, it's good to have a plan for the future. Always have a plan for the future, especially just always do. It's just good. But also don't be so caught up in the long sight of things that you forget the here and now. And you don't want to miss these experiences. So that's what I live for. I live for the experiences that make up who I am and who I will continue to evolve to be.
Do you think today's man is misunderstood? And if so, why? Why do you think we misunderstand you? Because I have not many friends who are single, ladies, but I always ask them, why aren't you dating? They're like, guy, have you seen these men outside lately? I'm like, what's that supposed to mean? Because you've really generalized. Have you interviewed each and every one, of them? Do you think today's man is misunderstood, considering everything you have to juggle? The high cost of living, the Shaolin Temple, all that.
Yeah.
And then just the world has fast changed, technology and every kind of advancement you can think of in the world right now. You have your sports, you have your wife, you have your daughter, you have your mother, you have your siblings, so many things to so many people. Sometimes I'm like, what are you left with, as in to be to yourself? Before that, do you think today's man is misunderstood? Because there's sometimes you're like, cut these chaps some slack. Because sometimes I feel like that, and not a pick me kind of standpoint. You know my position about men and how I feel like sometimes when you expect certain things from someone, they over deliver. They're like, y'all think we are jacks, we don't care. Well, honey, sit down, I'll over deliver. Do you think you guys are misunderstood? And
I think so. I think we are highly misunderstood because for the longest time we were taught to keep our thoughts to ourselves. Society framed the man as the ideal man, as the strong, silent type.
I ain't mad at that. Some of you don't have nice things to say.
And it's true. And it's true.
Sometimes you need to just keep the inside voices. Just keep them.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I think society has changed, and what we have done is that instead of moving with society as it changes and adapting, a lot of people are moving one end of, it's like a two-lane road going the same direction, and we're moving, these cars are supposed to move, it's male and female, and we're supposed to move them at the same time, in the same way. They're supposed to be, in sync. But what's happened is that one has moved ahead in society, the other one has remained in certain places. So it's fragmented. And that's how we've become understood, because number one, we're not very good at expressing ourselves and making ourselves, expressing exactly what it is that we're thinking in the right manner. Because remember, there's a way that I'd explain something to Avin that I cannot explain to you. That's the same manner.
Mansplaining.
Yeah. You have to think about it very carefully and understand who you're talking to. You have to be aware. And I think that's where we missed out, because we were never taught how to do that. So you see the generation that's coming up. You know better. You're well equipped. Yes, better equipped, rather. We're better equipped. But we also have to take pride and ownership in passing down this information that we're learning. And that's why I'm partnering with someone on a men's mental health podcast that is not just focused on Movember, because number one, mental health, physical health is every day, not just in November. True. And we're men every day, not just in November. So just being able to do that is how I was best able to think, okay, how am I going to give back? How are we going to make this something that is readily available for the youth, for all men, basically?
You lose your mind. You lose your mind, Daniel. Like you're having the worst day of your life and things are just piling up. It's one thing after another. And sometimes I feel like the world is more brutal to a man than it is to a woman. I can smile my way out of things you
There's no way.
Cannot. I can come here even in shades, in my jackios, and I'm having a terrible day, and I'm like, I feel like talking with a box of tissue, and everyone will just be like, she's just going through something. You can't do the same. You don't have, we don't extend men the same luxuries sometimes, the same grace that we extend to women. You're having a terrible day, you're having a terrible season, because sometimes it's not a day, it's a season.
It's a season, yeah.
Where do you, Daniel, go to? Where do you go to not lick your wounds, but to go and get whole again? Where do you go to? Some people it's sports, some people it's family, some people, do you just curl up into a ball and cry? Tell us, Dan. I'm sure there's a bit of that in there somewhere. But
so I've been blessed with a very good friend circle, where we get together every now and then.
Yeah.
And these are friends that I've made recently. I'm talking about this year. There's my friends who are family. They'll always be.
You still have your best friends with your childhood friend.
Yes. I'm still best friends with my childhood friend, best friends with my former rugby captain. And we have this healthy thing when we sit together, we talk honestly and we open up. And
the circle of other men?
Yes.
Just men?
Mainly men, just men. And we do it because we are conscious of the fact that if we do not, if we do not do this, if we don't create a safe space for ourselves, we have no one to blame but ourselves.
I like that. You're not team making excuses. Most men are like, there's no safe space. I'm like, see, make a safe space.
Yes, we have to create that safe space, and we've created that, and that's what we do. And we sit and we talk, and yes, we do cry. We've cried, we've laughed.
You guys have like a small little group of criers, Daniel.
Yeah, if it gets to that, and it's.
I heard you guys. You know, I love that stuff. So I'm here for it. But it's good for women to know that you're not a unicorn. There are guys who are in tune and in touch with their feelings.
There are. And I think we started getting less angry at the world when we realized that we can create this safe space, when we can talk. Sometimes we just park the car somewhere, sit under a tree, and we talk. And we just go through everything. And the one thing that I've understood really well from what we do, our little quote-unquote therapy sessions, is at the end of it, let's always summarize with a solution. Let's try be problem solve, because we are wired to be. So why run away?
You're not meeting to rant and whine,
and you're allowed,
which is what most of us women do.
And you're allowed to let it out. But are you letting it out in the hopes that you'd find a solution? Do you want it to get better at the end of it? You know, and sometimes we have to ask ourselves really, really difficult questions, like, so do you really want to get out of your situation, or are you just whining? Because that will not help. You might feel like you've gotten something off your chest, but where are you going with it? Have you developed a process for it? Because there's processes for it. There's certain steps that you can follow. If you literally sit down and think about it, there's steps that you can follow, and there's people who have put this out there. You know, there's guys like AQ Coaching. There's guys like Jordan B. Peterson. The internet has these people ready tools to give you this information. So what you need to do is begin to implement it and commit to it. You know,
I love that you're a no excuses kind of guy. A controversial saying, and I wish we would just scrap it off the universe, because it's honestly just crap. Nice guys finish last, Daniel. Yes, no? And the reason for your answer. Good guys finish last. Nice guys finish last. However it goes. Yes and no.
Wow.
Don't be afraid to go there. It's me.
Yeah, no. This one is now. You see,
I'm your boy.
You know
I'm
how
just
to
cute.
ask. You know,
but I'm your boy. You can tell me.
You know how to ask questions. I've always told you that. You really know how to ask questions.
Yeah, you thought we were going to just come here. But I'm just cute.
Yeah.
We can't help it. But we have to go deep inside. I have to wear those gloves and dissect these conversations.
So as you know, I'm a bit of a geek sometimes, and incidentally, I have read Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince.
High five.
And that is where it came from. Nice guys finish last. you can't be nice all the time. Being nice, the origin of the word nice is French, but the root of it means imbecile.
That's what and then lately we call them simps. Simping.
So being nice doesn't, and it's true, nice guys do finish last because it is a brutal world out here, right? And it's the strongest will survive. And if you're too nice, you're not going to get too far ahead. My thought about it, how I understood it is, look, don't. So Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince has really been misinterpreted a lot of the time.
Yes.
And when I did the research, when I sat down with some older men and we spoke about it and they explained it to me, it's number one, don't be nice, be good.
Yes, and I tell people there's a very big difference. I think you and I
huge,
have had a conversation about the difference
multiple
between
times
nice
and good.
And good.
Yes.
Yes.
So nice is
a doormat.
Yeah.
People come and wipe their
People
dirt.
will, yeah.
Ooh, I just stepped on dog poop.
Yeah, and use this one.
Yep,
you know,
that's
let's
nice.
use Dan. Dan is a nice guy, but being good means that you're willing to state your boundaries very clearly in a respectful manner. You don't have to be you don't have to be a you don't have to be you don't have to be you don't have to be a nuisance. You don't have to be a jerk about it. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but you can be respectful and still maintain all your boundaries consistently. Being a good man and being a nice man are very different, and I believe in being good and not necessarily nice. And
nice people take advantage of.
You get taken advantage of
respect.
Throughout. Yes. And that because I was a nice guy for the longest time. Learning to not be a people pleaser and not seek external approval consistently is relearning, and committing to it is a whole other thing, because you're hardwired to do it. Your childhood traumas come into play and they do things to you that you want to be seen. And being someone who's always played sports his entire life, the approval has always been there.
And then you're always playing to a crowd.
Yes.
You're always playing to a crowd, and then you transition from that kind of sport that is spectator driven and charged and the adrenaline, and then now you come to the creative space where you do 2 voiceovers sent to clients and they're like, I don't like this voice. So maybe 4 rejections, and you're like,
okay, so what did I do wrong? Well, like, where is this coming from? The disconnect, and the thing that a lot of guys also don't talk about is mental health in retiring athletes.
Oh, yes. Because now there's, especially if you are ill-prepared for it. Have you ever seen someone who used to be the... I was about to say a bad word. He was the thing.
He was him.
Back in the day. And he wants to enter that room like in all caps and in red, and no one recognizes him, and he's almost... I was going to talk about someone who was in the cricketing world, and I'm not going to go there, but I met someone and he was apparently the it guy, MVP. You understand? And then you meet this person and they've not lost their luster, but they're not getting the response they were used to getting while they were MVP. That kind of bothers you. Just like a man, you're a stud, you're this, done. I'm not hurting your feelings. Your hair's gonna start thinning soon. You're probably gonna start balding.
That started. It started. Don't say it too loud.
You understand? So the looks, rear view mirror. Maybe you're going to get like a 1-pack. The girls are going to stop smiling at you. He was my producer. People used to come many times to say hi in the studio, and it wasn't me. In a friendly manner, of course. But you understand? So all these things. They say beauty is fleeting. So all these things, let's talk about it even. Sometimes the good days are in the rear view mirror. Like, you're not the fastest, you're not the suavest, you're not the slickest, the smoothest. Those days just are slowly fading away like the hairlines. Then now you're just here, and what to do?
a lot of the time, this is the risk that comes with not evolving. Refusing to evolve, this is where the risk falls. I know people who live in the past. You know, back in the day, when I was like this, I was, you know,
Yes.
I try not to do that. I really try not to do that because I understand those days are behind me.
And you had dreads, Dan. Someone wrote a comment in your video.
Yes,
I can just picture you with dreads. I'm like, my producer had dreads. What up?
That was a while ago. And
Go on.
you just have to accept that those days were good. Cherish those days. Those are memories that will always be there. However, why do we get stuck in that and not think of let's make more? Let's make more. One of the greatest opportunities I've ever had was, of course, producing for you, because it gave me more memories. You see? So I didn't have to be Dan the back row, the flanker who was completely vicious, you know. And I didn't have to be that guy anymore. I was Dan the producer. Dan the producer who can actually get things done, you know, still learning. Because I didn't really learn actually. I didn't have the longest learning time, learning period.
Thrown into the deep end.
And thank God I kind of catch on decently.
You swam.
And that gave me more memories. It gave me opportunity to find, okay, so I can still be him. It doesn't have to be in this space. And that's where we're locked in. We get locked in. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I don't blame a lot of these guys, because when that crowd at KRU are cheering for you, it's a completely different feeling.
There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. But when your presenter on the other end of the glass looks at you and you know exactly what they need and you can sort that out, that's a different kind of fulfillment. And that's what we need to do. We need to be continually improving. We can't be stuck in the past. And this is where men have to understand that you have to be able to evolve. My body's going to give in at some point. Yeah, my knees are not what they used to be. My back isn't what it used to be. Yeah,
child,
you can sneeze.
Preaching to the choir.
You sneeze too hard. You sneeze too hard. You need a week off. You're on bed rest.
Yeah, broke something.
You broke a rib, tweaked your back. The Achilles has gone, and all you did was sneeze.
Even when I go to the gym, floor exercises, coming back up is normally the problem.
You know, and it's not like that for everyone, but we need to begin to understand that we can't just focus on one thing if it's not always going to be there. Have a plethora of things that you're interested in. And that's why men are encouraged to have hobbies. And
what are some of yours, Dan? I'm curious. I know you love anime.
Yes.
I know you're obsessed with anime.
Yes.
And then what I picked up from you, you absolutely turn to pudding at the slightest mention of your daughter.
Yes.
And I've seen you guys together and you're just, like you shrink. You are my height. When your daughter, is around 6 foot, 5-0. And you're just, I see you melt, you're even just on the phone. And I'm like, why do you sound like me now? Because you finger your voice. Hi, mama. I'm like,
Yes.
I was going to ask you a controversial standpoint. Do you think the economic times that we're living in have a larger part to play in the somehow fragile men's mental space than all the other factors, right? There's so many things that can have your mental space shaky, but we're also living in uncertain times. Like many companies, you're just seeing which security company notice to declare notice of the redundancy. People are closing down their businesses. Someone has set up shop, something happens, and tomorrow they're hit with back tax payments. So we're living in such I won't say gruesome, but challenging times, right?
Very.
So do you think that has the biggest part to play in where y'all are at, and these cases we are seeing in suicide fast rising?
Yes, I do believe that finances is one of the biggest things.
Money makes a man? Your opinion?
To a large extent, let's just be real with it. Yes. To a very large extent, yes. There's things that money can never change or fix.
Yes.
But there's things that, in a lot of it, for the most part, in today's society, in today's world, a lot of it is financial. And it's created a whirlwind. It's created a complete storm that every man is going through at some point in time in life. And we just have to accept that it's there. The statistic is this is actually for Kenya, 1 out of every 100 men will commit suicide every day.
1 out of what? Wow. That's very specific. That's very specific. Men know men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than women.
Yes.
Which is ridiculous in itself. You understand?
It's absolutely wild. And you've heard some horror stories. Well, I've heard some horror stories. We've all heard some horror stories. But who's providing the solution? Where is the solution?
I was going to get with that. I was going to get to interventions. What, on a societal level, what interventions do you think our men need? What do you think you guys need? And then also, suicide, or rather an attempt at suicide, is a criminal offense in our country, punishable by law.
Yes.
Do you think there should be legislation to counter that? Because how are you putting in jail a sick person?
Yeah,
because I understand, because murder is murder.
Yes,
if you try to take a life,
even
yours,
even your own,
it's
still. I feel like something does need to be done. And 2020, for example, very difficult time for very many people. Very many
COVID,
people.
lockdown.
Everyone went through it at some point. And there's something that I noticed. All these mental health or suicide hotlines. Yeah. Because I had a lot of conversations. Can you believe that suicide hotlines were not working at the time in Kenya? I know people who have called as recently as a few months ago, and till to date, no response. No response from the suicide hotline. Number one, those hotlines need to work. That will really
toll-free lines.
Toll-free lines need to be active. We need to have counselors on standby. We need to have people who can talk each other down. But
the African man, the ones that I have interacted with, are not too eager to go through counseling. In fact, the slightest mention of the word, and you all get defensive. Like, it's almost an admission of you not playing your role as a man, right? Or I don't know, I'm not a man. I don't know.
Remember the vox pop that we had, that one of the vox pops that I got on, and I said, thug it out.
Yeah.
Our default setting is to thug it out because of what society has molded us to be. Thug it out. And it's not right.
Because thugging it out is what? Suppressing your feelings.
Just ignore and override. The Marines say, SEAL team, the SEALs, they say ignore and override. Ignore and this is not, yes, life it could be a microcosm of a combat event, or combat events are microcosms of life, but you can't just ignore and override everything.
You cannot. Something's going to give at the end of the day.
Yes.
I just feel like you're going to have an opposite reaction to your intended, because you've not dealt with, it's
the
like,
root cause.
Yeah, it's like something is building, like a volcanic eruption, and
and you're trying to pop a Mentos into a Coke bottle, and you try to,
and you're like, la la la,
it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. It's not going away.
It'll erupt.
And if it doesn't, if you keep that cap on long enough, it loses its luster, it loses its fizz. And that's what happens. We bottle things in, and then we begin to lose who we are.
Yeah, because lately and more often, I'm meeting human zombies. I'm just meeting people who've been beat up by life, Daniel, and they're on autopilot. You can
Survival
just tell,
mode.
like they're
stuck in survival mode.
yeah, and then their
And-
routine is so perfect and calculated, you can't even tell unless you look close enough.
Because they're hiding it. They're hiding that they're going through something. They're hiding that they need help. They don't want. Some people don't feel like they deserve help. Others just don't want to look like they need help. It is so difficult.
And then there's also women who also, no offense, and I'm not, I don't want anyone to pick me. I was picked already. Thank you. There's women also who, maybe when a man comes to you and he's like, babe, I'm not okay, you also don't know what to do, because you probably didn't see your father in that situation.
Yeah.
And what your mother did. So we also didn't have so many places that would draw inspiration from as to, your man is going through it. What am I supposed to do? Some women just completely, now you're busy. Now you're busy, you're like walking around on eggshells because you're afraid of maybe what you could open up, as in what
The
will
kind of worms.
the
that
kind of
you-
worms,
yeah.
because maybe you'll be involved with. You also probably have to face your own demons. You understand? Sometimes it's not what you'll tell me.
Yeah.
I'm a crier, I like to torture little animals. You understand? I don't know what your demon is, Daniel, but maybe seeing you in that place will also have me feel like I have to also confront my own demons.
There's that, which is, I think, one of the top reasons. But there's also, we don't talk about this as much, because of late the focus has been men's mental health because it's been suppressed for so long. But let's go back a bit.
Yeah.
Mental health in general,
Yeah.
I'm adding on to what she's already going through.
Yes.
And she just doesn't know. She doesn't know how to deal with what she's going through. And I'm adding on to hers. What kind of man am I?
Word.
You know,
True.
when what we should do is to be able to sit down and say, look, let's put all our stuff in this box
Yeah.
and let's see what we can deal with
Yeah.
together.
Bite size.
Bite size.
We deal
Let's
with
take
this
bite- yeah,
smaller one.
Let's take this small one. This
Deal?
small one, can we
Deal?
deal with this one? Okay, fine. We can. This one is dealt with. Gone. Let's pick the next one. But we don't do that.
Yeah, we're just like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. We're going through everything. I'm a mom, I'm a this, and then I'm supposed to. I see women talking about it lately that I can't raise a man. Like in just short, J-Lo's song, I Ain't
Yeah.
Your Mama.
And because a man is, there's a very unhealthy way that it's perceived, is that a man is supposed to be ready-made.
Yeah.
By the time she's finding him, he should be there. However,
Kidogo, I see a crack, go shave your hair. I don't know what
Yeah.
your baba does to you there, and those
Yeah.
weird head massages from the baba. Then come back fixed, Daniel. Come back fixed.
and we tolerated it. The man is
That's all
supposed
we
to be.
saw
That's all we saw.
as well.
But now we know better. Now we know. Let's talk about things. Let's not go silent. Let's
Yo.
try not to be. Because
But let me tell you, it's hard. It's hard.
yeah.
You know, I just feel like not many men are probably wired like you. You know, you like to talk. I say this, Daniel also happens to be my friend, and I'll weird you out, a Capricorn. But you're not avoidant. You know, most men, after they feel like they've disappointed you, 360, vamos. He never wants to see you again because he's not. He doesn't want to be held accountable for his actions, his feelings.
shame.
Whoa.
Shame. I know better. I didn't do
And
better.
you let
And I let.
me down. Really?
Shame.
Because sometimes I'm like such a jack. Because you guys can be so avoidant, guy. And I'm going to talk about a common friend. Emilioto would say he gets into it like with a chick he's in a relationship with. You understand? He's just like, let me just leave it. Let's not talk about it. Let me just walk away before I say or we both say stuff we can't take back. But then that's the end of the story. So we're going to now we're scared of each other. We don't want to go there because I'm afraid of what you'll say that you can't take back, and vice versa.
It's
Sasa
a trauma
tutaka hivyo.
it's a trauma response because I also have it. I can also be avoidant.
Yeah.
I can also be avoidant. you see, the thing is who you relate with and how you and how you relate with them.
I'm just like, today was these are my confessions.
No, it's also awareness. It's coming to acceptance and awareness are very big. It's avoidance can stem a lot of the time stems from trauma or what we didn't, or just not knowing better, or just having no clue, or having no one. But having friends who will not let you be avoidant.
Like Kujuka Yapa, we're going to talk about it. Why do you think you're the only one who's Nini thinks?
In fact,
everyone makes mistakes. Sit down.
Today is your day. We are here for you. You're not going to let us not be there for you. You're not going to call me your friend and not let me be there for you. There's no way I'm letting that happen. You come here. Well, you know what? I know where you live. I'm coming to your house. And we've done it before. We've gone to our friend's house and said, knocked on the door and said, yo.
We've not heard from you. You probably are not showering.
Yeah, you're not picking.
You're not showering. You're not
responding
eating
to messages. You're not. First of all, do you have food?
Yeah.
Wait,
I know that about you, and I really wanted you to be the one to bring it up in the conversation. That a lot of I was asking for solutions. How do we mitigate what is going on? And what you're saying in a nutshell, as cheesy and corny as it sounds, you must be your brother's keeper. You're saying this to fellow men. Me, I've seen you going to a shop because you're going to see your boy who's not okay. And you're like, we're going to spend the whole day there. We're going to cook. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not a bit intrusive, Daniel. What if he doesn't open the door? It's like, we will know when we're there if we're going to kick it down.
Yeah.
If we're going to kick it down because this person is not okay.
Yeah, they're not okay. And you see, some of my closest friends, the reason that I treasure them so much is because they're not afraid to tell me, bro beans, it's not good. You get a text and you say, hey bro,
how is your street name Beans? We'll discuss that. Bro Beans?
So that's a long story for another time, but it's to see that message, you know, you're also going through it, but somewhere in the back of your mind you think, this guy trusts me enough to be this vulnerable with me.
Yeah.
If it's the last 300 bob I have, I'm
sharing.
If we have to split 150, if I have to send him everything, I start again, because maybe you don't know where someone is mentally. You don't know where they are financially. You don't know how bad it is, but when they tell you, believe them.
Yeah. So that support network is very, very important.
And you have to be honest with each other. You have to be honest with each other. There's times I've got friends who have told me, dude, things are rough, but I managed to get through this week. I just need a drink. I just want to sit down, unwind. It's not like, and yes, there's the risk of it being an alcoholic thing, but these are friends that we have had this conversation with about. And it's just, he needs to unwind. It's not the healthiest. There's guys who, during COVID, we used to call each other and link up and go run. We just run like crazy. And, you know, life progresses and you move. And sometimes you want to meet up and just decompress. But being able to trust someone with your vulnerability, your honest truth, it hits different. It hits different when you can call someone at whatever time and they, are you okay? What's good? Talk to me. You know, or a guy calls for help and don't tell me anything more. Tell me when I get there. That is so different. That is different. That's one of the best things I've ever experienced.
I told you he's king of bromance. They have boy dates. Even the man behind the camera cannot pretend, because I remember one day he told me, don't call me on a Saturday. It's boys' day. And I love it. I love that you guys are very actively trying to be close to your support systems, because I know whatever y'all talk about, whatever y'all mean to each other, sometimes when the world is not so kind to you, that's all you have to lean on.
That's all you have to lean on. And but I still maintain certain philosophies, certain thoughts, certain schools of thought that, number one, the one that I've always held, and it saved me a lot. I know it's not the final, it's not the end, but no one is coming to save you.
I love
No
that.
one is coming to save you. At
I
the
love
end of
that.
the day,
No one
you
is
have
coming
to
to
get
save you.
up. You have to get up and try.
As a man or just a human being in general? As in
human
your head?
In
Is
my
it?
head,
Yeah.
in my head, it's as a man. In my head, it's as Daniel. As Daniel, Dan, no one is coming to save
Because
you.
I feel like the same applies to women. Because
Yeah.
lately I feel like we are waiting for Prince Charming as well. And I'm like, Prince Charming is broke. Go just about,
Broke, busted, and
barely,
disgusted.
barely making it also,
Yeah.
like we're all going through it.
We're all going through it. And if we just had a little bit more compassion for ourselves first.
As men.
Your cup has to be full before you can overflow, before you can pour into someone else's cup. Be compassionate with yourself, then you can also show compassion to others. And that's what we need. Sometimes, we've also spoken about this with the guys. What's it with these angry, entitled women? Okay.
Don't get me started.
What is it
Tuna
with them?
celebrate men. Hatupigani na nyinyi.
Yeah, but you see, we unpacked that and we realized this is why we have to be better fathers.
You're all about taking responsibility. Because I hate that whole shifting blame thing. And I'm like, many of these angry women are a product of their environment.
It's a product of your environment.
Not to say that the men who are angry and bitter are not. They also are a product of the environment. But once we understand where we are at and we are all purposely ready to take charge and see it through, that we're going to break some of these very unhealthy cycles that have come passed on generation after generation, then I feel like we're on the right track. What do you do to spoil yourself, Daniel? Please surprise us. You just got like a spa kind of guy. I'm just seeing you like Diddy in a white robe and some cucumbers,
Not like Diddy.
and an avo, like
Avo
mask. Maybe smoking something, a cigar. It's like, I just
cigar, good bourbon.
Unaka.
I like sneakers. I like shoes.
I know that.
I like sneakers. I enjoy family time.
Taking your girls out is
It's
top tier.
Just watching them enjoy. I like
Girls, not girlfriends. His wife and daughter.
yes.
Before you come to the comment section.
But to spoil myself, I focus on myself.
No, what do you do? Because let me tell you this thing I noticed about men. You just see someone's wife, bling bling, money ain't a thing, and then you see this guy. He has the same pair of shoes in the name of what my family has. My family lacks for nothing. Men forget themselves. Like, when was the last time you went and bought? Okay, I'm not going to ask you this because I know your business. When was the last time, like most guys, I'm asking you who's watching this, when was the last time you took out to go and just spoil yourself? I'm not spoiling is for women. Like, a man will do just about everything for his woman. He wants to go and buy himself, not a belt unless it's torn, shoes unless they are worn out. You don't do things for yourselves.
And I think
How do you pamper yourself, Daniel?
Most recently, there's a friend of mine who, and you met him, Tende.
Yeah.
He called me up and he asked me, yo, what you doing? I said, chilling, man, not too much. He said, yo, when's the last time you watched a movie? I said, okay, I'm game. Let's go, bro. And that's what we did. We
No children, no wives,
just the boys, just two guys, sat in the cinema, 3D glasses on, enjoying a movie. And that's, we occasionally do small things like those. Sometimes like I said, I'll buy myself a pair of shoes.
That's your self-care
Sneakers.
routine. I'm going to start asking people that.
Sneakers.
Is that your
the
self-care?
routine?
Is retail therapy, Daniel? So
It's
shallow.
shopping.
So
Everyone likes shopping.
Daniel, you're so shallow.
For everything. For the level.
Sneakers feed your soul. You're a simple guy, it's all right.
Guys,
Sneakers feed your soul. I'm almost
like
please, can I give you a chance to change your answer, or I leave you alone, woman?
going out, this
Your self-care routine.
Self-care routine. Sometimes it's just, I call up a physio, my former physio for where I played at Strathmore, when I camped at Strathmore. Sometimes I'll call him up and just ask him, can I come see you? Full on crack your back and not your shoulders. Just
You're a crack addict.
Crack addict. But like
you go
I
crack
just-
your back and
you need to feel. You need to feel. There's one of our. She used to be one of our producers here.
yeah,
Little girl,
yeah,
Kate.
yeah.
She said something so wise one time
Yeah.
because we'd break down whatever conversation you're having on the other end in the MCR, and she said one day, once you forget who you are as a man, I will also forget. That changed me forever.
Oh wow!
That changed
Once
me.
you forget who you are as a man,
A woman
me
will
as the
forget.
woman,
You forget.
I'll forget.
Because what happens? How do men approach women? We make ourselves known. We make our presence known, right? He'll walk in. A guy with stereotypical movie. He'll walk in. He's looking some type of way. He'll do the whole Sylvester Stallone when he gets out his car and he pulls his trousers down with his boots. You know, do something cool because he knows who he is. He will remember. He will keep himself at the forefront. If he's okay, his family can be okay.
True.
You know, I can't be expected to carry my girls on my back over hot coals barefoot. I need to make sure I have the shoes.
And you're not injured. You're
I'm
also
not injured, so that because they
in shape.
need me. You know, it's the whole thing of like even in the airplane when you're on a flight and they say put on your mask first before you help someone else. Because if you're not okay, you can't help the other people around you. So you've got to do that. And a lot of the time, even I have forgotten that. I have seen it. I've seen other people do that, and I have misinterpreted because I was angry about something and seen it as selfishness when it was not. They were just making sure that they're okay so that they can care for the people around them. And now I understand, because once you start doing it, you realize, oh, I am better equipped to deal with these things. Sometimes
True.
buy yourself a nice shirt, buy yourself some shoes. You realize that you perform at a higher level. In rugby, we used to say, look good, feel good, play good. And it worked every time. The late
I love
Ayimba
it.
told us when we were rookies at Impala, and he said, I don't want to ever see you guys come onto this pitch for a game on Saturday with dirty boots. Your boots are clean, shows you respect yourself, you respect the team, you respect the game. It'll treat you as such. And our ritual, my ritual,
gentleman's sport.
my ritual before every Friday or Saturday morning was clean the boots.
Not to wash your dreads. Not to wash.
That was after the game. That was after the game. After you've fallen in the the corner
with
side next to the
grass
tennis
inside
court.
your locks.
After
and that.
that Impala pitch when it rains, that side near the tennis court, that was
Yeah.
all sewage. The number of times I've fallen in there.
TMI.
But yeah, you've got to take care of yourself. My health needs to be at its best for the sake of them.
You're the
And
captain.
You're
You're
the
the
cap-
captain. If you're captain, have you ever seen, let me ask you, you just go, maybe you're going to board a matatu, and this guy first falls on the floor, drunk as a skunk, and then he's like, Ati munaenda, you're entering that car. You're not. Where are we going? Go
Where are
and
we
commit
going?
suicide by yourself. Where are we
Yeah.
going? It's
Yeah, and
that
this is-
simple. You
yeah.
undo the guy, comes, and the first thing that happens is he falls, drunk as a skunk.
You're not getting this.
Paced
You
proper.
can't- you
And then
can't.
he's like, unaenda. Are you going with him?
You're not going
As the
anywhere.
captain, men need to remember, as the captain, you'll need to have your things in order. And not just your physical. Your mental.
Spiritual.
Yeah, and I'm it's so sad that we want to no shave 1 month only, and then after that suck it up. Yeah, and then when you show a bit of emotion, we're like kababa, you see, and then
And
like
yeah.
ridicule.
Ridicule. And there's something that I learned, and I even said it yesterday to a friend. I was watching what they were doing live, and I typed it out, and I said, because I've always been saying it, and I heard this from Madea. What other people think of you or say about you is none of your business. Do right by you. Do right by the ones who matter the most.
And the person upstairs,
My mantra.
not a third floor.
No, I wasn't going to say. I wasn't going to say it. I promise. That's anyway. But I said it, and this is something that I'm trying to live by. Talk to God. Go to the gym. Make some money. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Everything else will fall into place.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And then finally, your final remarks, Mr. Daniel Othieno. Take this home. Mental health, men's mental health Health Awareness Month. What are you telling your brothers?
Very simply put,
It's going to be a good holiday.
I had it, yeah. Keep it simple. Remember, keep it simple, deal with it one thing at a time. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Because you never know. Even the Bible says, the word says, it says on the streets, closed mouths don't get fed. In the Bible, it says, ask and you shall receive. You don't have to be, you'll get your answer. It doesn't have to be the one that you want, but you'll get your answer. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And also, please watch out. There's something that we're going to be doing, and I hope to bring you on board on this, because we want also, you're very aware about this and about men's mental health, and you've really spoken about, like, even before this, but Movember doesn't have to be just in November. You're men every day. Your health matters every day. You are who you are every day, every single day. It's not just November. Carry it out throughout the year. And look out, because we're going to be doing the ABCs, and I'll fill you in on that off camera. Then now we can plan how it goes ahead. But look out for the ABCs. But remember, you matter every day. When that begins to sink in, you'll start doing the right things.